Our next segment is a government segment which I host, and this week I am going to be telling the taxpaying public how they can challenge their property tax assessment. I've had over 30 years of experience as a real property tax director, and hopefully you can learn something from this. It's a timely subject. Nobody likes taxes, but we all have to pay our fair share. If you'd like to contact me or you have questions about your assessment challenge, contact me, Nick Barber, at impact@proctors.org. Hi everybody, and welcome to Impact. I'm Nick Barber, your host, and typically every week I will interview a government official, elected or appointed, as far as our government segment goes. This week I'd like to offer some information myself to you. I won't be interviewing anyone, but I'll be telling you some very important information on how to challenge your property tax assessment on your property. It's a timely topic. I might do this in 2 sessions. Grievance Day is in May, which is the 4th Tuesday in May, throughout the state of New York. That's May 22nd. And the issue is, are you being fairly assessed? You may or may not know that my prior life, I was the county director for real property tax services for Schenectady County. I retired a little over a year ago, but I'd like to share some experience with you. We always want to bring things to our viewers that impact them, and what impacts you more if you're a property owner than your property taxes. It's a fixed expense that you may or may not feel is controllable. One way you can get your property tax bill under control, if you would, is if you can evaluate whether your assessment is fair or not. The way it works is the assessor will value your property. The assessor's really, the only job of an assessor is, and we may have an assessor on this show eventually too to talk about their experiences, but their only job is to value your property. They list, discover, list, and value property. So they put it on the assessment roll. The assessor will each year certify an assessment roll by July 1st as to what his or her estimate of market value is for the assessment. The tax bill, your tax bill is a different thing. Your tax bill is generated by the tax rate of the municipality. So whether it's a city, a town, in the capital region, or anywhere throughout New York State, it's the tax rate which is multiplied times the assessed value of your property that generates your tax bill. So I guess you shouldn't condemn the assessor for raising your taxes, because that's not what the assessor does. The assessor just values your property. But they do it every year, so every year things change. The market changes. The municipality may have assessed values on properties at X, and then the market may drop, and those assessments may not be fair anymore compared to the actual market when properties sell. So first thing you have to do is determine what is the assessor's estimate of the market value of your property. Each year, the assessor will come up with a value. They may or may not have an update on the assessment roll in the municipality. That's not done every year. I know the state would like to see it and recommends an annual reassessment program, but municipalities always can't afford to the cost of an update or a revaluation. It could be in the millions, so they try to keep their assessment roll in check according to the current market. The assessor will, by May 1st, there's certain dates on the assessment calendar that are important, but May 1st is the tentative assessment roll that would be issued by the assessor in all municipalities generally throughout New York State. So on May 1st, the assessor will publish a list or a roll of assessed values on the properties in his or her municipality, and then that list or assessment roll would be available to the public for review. That's when your challenge or your complaint process starts. That is the roll to be challenged, if you would, the May 1st roll of each year. So here we are, we're approaching May, in a month and a half or so. And that is the magic date that you want to remember to go down to the assessor's office or go on the internet. Most municipalities will have their tentative rolls on the internet, and you can take a look at what your property is assessed at for this assessment calendar year and what your neighbor's properties are assessed at. You can start doing some research. Basically, there's three approaches to the complaint process, or three remedies. The first one would be, if you look at your tax bill and you determine that there's some error in your classification, too many bedrooms, wrong square footage, they have you listed as a two-family and you have a one-family, or if it's a commercial property, if there's property inventory errors as far as square footage or income, you can go to the assessor's office for an informal review. So you contact the assessor, call the assessor in his or her municipality and say, I'd like to have a meeting and I'd like to talk to you about my assessment because I feel that there may be some errors here. So that's called an informal review. Many times there will be errors that the assessor wasn't aware of, and the assessor may change your assessed value on your property based on the information that you give them. If that doesn't work or is not appropriate, step number 2 would be to file a grievance before the Board of Assessment Review. Throughout New York State, every municipality has a Board of Assessment Review that you would go to file a complaint or a grievance on your assessment. To do this, you need to file between May 1st and Grievance Day, which is the 4th Tuesday in May every year. So this year in 2012, Grievance Day will be May 22nd. That's the final date. If you don't file by May 22nd, you're out of luck. You have to wait till next year. There are forms that you have to fill out. It's a brief 4-page form for your assessment challenge. And you can find these forms on the New York State Office of Real Property Services website, and you can download them. That website is www.orps.state.ny.us, and we're going to put that up on the screen for you periodically through this segment. So you get your form on May 1st, between May 1st and May 24th, fill out your form, and your approach to your assessment would be a couple of different approaches. One would be excessive assessment, and that would be based on market value. So you have to have some proof to the assessor. When you go to the Board of Assessment Review, the assessor will be sitting there. Your proof could be a number of things. To prove market value, that your property is assessed at a higher value than the actual market value of properties in your municipality, you would go to sales, closed sales. You could review sales, not listings, not how much people are asking for their house on the real estate market, but an actual closed sale. That's what we call an arm's length transaction. An arm's length transaction is a fair, unrelated transaction between two disinterested parties, unrelated parties. It can't be a foreclosure, a sale between family, or a distress sale, bankruptcies and things like that. So the best proof to prove excessive assessment, or that you're being assessed at a higher value within the actual market value, would be an appraisal. And yes, you have to pay for an appraisal. You can represent yourself before the Board of Assessment Review. You don't have to have an attorney. You can if you wish, but in my opinion, the best proof that you are overassessed is to get a fee appraisal, not a one-page opinion from a real estate agent. You get a fee appraisal with 3 good comps from a professional New York State certified real estate appraiser. And that appraiser will conform to what they call the Uniform Standards of Assessment Practices. So when you submit that appraisal, it will be an accurate, professional, and well-received appraisal for your argument. Now remember, if your assessment is fair, there's no sense in going through this whole procedure. You do have to first determine that you feel your assessment is not fair. So that's the second step. The third step is, if you are not successful at your hearing before Board of Assessment Review, then you can file for a small claims assessment review, where you will have a hearing officer assigned for you from New York State, and you'll have a separate hearing afterwards. But you have to go to the Board of Assessment Review first. So to go to small claims, if you're denied by the board, you pay a $30 fee, fill out another form. You can get it at that ORPS website on your screen or the county clerk's office, and you'll have a hearing before a hearing officer. Typically, it seems to be there's more success at small claims than Board of Assessment Review, but of course, everything depends on the circumstances. So don't be afraid to challenge your property tax assessment. There's no retribution. Nobody's going to come back at you. It's a fair process. Do your research now. Grievance Day is the 4th Tuesday in May in New York State. That's May 22nd. And the tentative assessment roll to be challenged is May 1st. In the future, I'm going to come back. Perhaps we'll have an assessor with us. As we get closer to Grievance Day, we'll revisit this issue and come up with maybe some other issues on commercial properties too. I'm Nick Barber, your host for Impact. Thanks for watching and good luck with challenging your property tax assessment.